Now that we know a little bit about the new leader of the Conservative Party, what does it mean for us here in Saskatchewan? Jim Farney joins me now. He's the department head of the Politics and International Studies faculty at the University of Regina. Jim, what do you make of the results?
There was a little bit of a surprise with O'Toole winning, not a big one, but kind of the polling in the lead up had McKay in the lead. Again, not a lot, like that was a bit expected. The big surprise of last night was how well Leslyn Lewis did. I mean, she won here in the early going, and on the second ballot actually had more individual votes than anyone else and was leading across the prairies for someone who isn't in Parliament and is a reasonably kind of new Conservative. That was kind of a definitely out of nowhere run.
Why do you think she did so well?
She really, I mean, people are making a lot of her social conservatism, and I think that's probably valid. That those groups in the parties can really mobilize a lot of people and stuff. But I think there's two other pieces to her appeal. One is that she campaigned well, she was lively and engaging, and I think a lot of Conservatives wanted to hear a traditionally conservative message or a very conservative message from a Black immigrant woman. That was pretty appealing. But she also, I think, taps into kind of a vein of populism in the same way that Ford does in Ontario, just a real desire to push back against, well, to be honest, the academic and CBC elites that say things that people don't like. I think she pulled all of those together.
When it comes to Western representation in Ottawa, there was Stephen Harper in Calgary, then Andrew Scheer in Regina. O'Toole is from Durham, Ontario. How will that affect Conservatives out west?
It's going to be a big change, I think. Maybe not in the initial going. If you look at his quite detailed party policy platform, you'll see he makes a lot of getting the resource enterprise restarted in ways that I think have very little difference from what you've seen of Western premiers. Jason Kenney endorsed him. But I do wonder as time goes on, and especially if, whenever the next election is, if they manage to win a lot of seats in suburban Toronto, say, or in Quebec, one thing that he's going to have to walk very carefully is climate change and carbon tax. And I think, although he's come down on a very kind of Western focused position there right now, he may get pulled away from it over time.
With Parliament prorogued until September 23rd and then a possible confidence vote after the throne speech, what strategy do you think O'Toole will take on for the next month?
He's positioned himself as running against Trudeau right from the get-go. Again, if you go back to that policy brief, I think you'll see that. They made an important, I think, signal this morning that the Prime Minister made sure he had a briefing from the Chief Medical Health Officer. So I think there's some kind of cooperation there that's always nice to see. But the big thing I think he has to make sure is all ready to go is the Conservative Party's organization. That's always been their strength. That's part of their brand. And one of the outcomes and also one of the causes of Andrew Scheer's leadership ending was a lot of discord inside that organization. The Conservatives can't win unless they work together as a party, and so I'd expect a lot of his next month will be making sure that the Conservative team is knit tightly together.
Finally, Jim, how likely is it that we are going to see a federal and a provincial election this fall?
And municipal, don't forget. I think the federal, it lies really with the Liberals. I mean, the Conservatives and the Bloc, I think, are quite committed to a vote of non-confidence. The NDP, it seems to me quite unclear how it's in their interest at all. But I could imagine with the reshuffle that's gone on in the Liberal Party and what seems from signals that they want a kind of bold reimagining of Canada from the throne speech, that be such a bold reimagining, the Liberals either engineer or ask for an election so that they have a mandate for massive programs. And they're sitting right on the cusp of majority government in the polling right now. So it may make sense to them to ask for that.
Thanks so much for this, Jim.
Thanks for having me on.